Welcome back to the TV Pilot Graveyard. Today we're looking at more TV sitcom pilots that were made but never broadcast. We're focusing on a unique collection of workplace comedies, from the chaotic camaraderie of a fire station to the gossipy grind of a newsagent, and even to the truly out there premise of an orbiting data hub housing all your cat videos and selfies. These are the shows that time forgot. Stick around as we explore and ponder what might have been. Our first workplace is the electricity generating station in the comedy playhouse sitcom pilot Current Affairs. The synopsis reads, "Of the country's many such hearts, pumping power to the smallest hamlet, to the industrial metropolis, Park Road and its dedicated generating men has a quality which sets it apart, quite some distance apart." The cast were mostly well known and popular when the pilot was made. In particular, Harold Goodwin seemingly appeared in every popular comedy of the 1980s. Arthur White is best known for his occasional role as Ernie Trigg, the police archivist in the crime drama A Touch of Frost, where he appeared alongside his real-life younger brother David Jason. Ken Parry and Robert Dorning were both popular comic character actors. Damaris Hayman was often cast in upper-class or eccentric roles, especially as a foil for comedians like Sid James, Dick Emery and Les Dawson. Sadly, none of the available documentation gives details of the characters they played, but for its time this was a classic sitcom cast. It couldn't possibly fail. A good comparison for the slice of life in a unique workplace and the characters who are defined by their unusual setting would be the Britas Empire. Set in a leisure centre, the Britas Empire focused on the disastrous management of Gordon Britas and the long-suffering employees who work under him. Both sitcoms are set in specific, somewhat unusual public services with their own quirks and challenges that are highly reliant on an ensemble cast of staff members. In the British Empire, the titular Gordon Britas is the eccentric manager who frequently fails to manage. The Current Affairs synopsis emphasises that its dedicated generating men has a quality which sets itself apart, which suggests a similar focus on the characters and a unique dynamic of the team. The Radio Times shows this pilot episode was scheduled for broadcast on Friday the 31st of May 1968 at 8:20 p.m, but another comedy playhouse production, Thank You Sir, Thank You Madam, was broadcast instead. Not only was the Current Affairs pilot never broadcast, but the recording is also missing from the BBC's archives, so it seems to be lost forever. Not all heroes wear capes. Among them are the brave men and women of the Fire and Rescue Service. Nobody wants there to be accidents and fires, but when they happen, this bunch of professionals are there to save and protect lives and property. But what happens when there are no accidents and nothing catches fire? That's the odd set of circumstances in one small town where oppressive health and safety regulations mean there are not many fires to fight, so the firefighters with their catalogue of personality disorders just look heroic in uniform and get very good at darts. The pilot was filmed in July 2006 at real fire stations in Canvey and Lee in Essex and in a studio at Television Centre. Among the firefighters was Johnny Vegas, who, according to the Southend Echo, got on very well with the real firefighters. Sub-Officer Mike Jones, based at Canvey, said, "It was a great experience for us to see how a programme is put together. Johnny Vegas was very chatty and spent a long time looking around our appliances." This seems to be a blend of elements of the classic ensemble drama London's Burning with the potential for cringe comedy and character-driven humour. The core concept of firefighters with no fires to fight due to oppressive health and safety regulations creates an immediate comedic conflict, while their personality disorders desire to look heroic and newfound dart skills promise rich character-based humour. While at the location filming phase, a spokeswoman for Talkback Thames stressed the show was still in the early stages. "We make lots of pilots, which means some of them never get shown on television. Hopefully this one will make it. It didn't make it. We don't know why. Perhaps White Watch needed some fires to fight to give the series some purpose. The Radio 4 sitcom Fags, Mags and Bags is set in a Scots Asian corner shop near Glasgow, where staff tirelessly seek to bring nice priced custard creams and cans of Coke with Arabic writing on them to an ungrateful nation. Ramesh has built it up over the course of 30 years and is firmly entrenched, friendly presence in the local area, but his sons crave something beyond the world of low return retail, thus setting up the central conflict of the show. A TV sitcom pilot is used to test various factors like the overall premise, some plotlines, characters and which actors might work well together as those characters. When transferring a comedy show from the radio, some of those issues have already been solved, so Fags, Mags and Bags should have been guaranteed a series commission after the pilot. After all, the radio sitcom, penned by Sanjeev Kohli and his writing partner Donald McCleary, had won a Writers Guild Award and a Sony Radio Award nomination. The TV pilot was recorded in Glasgow with a studio audience in May 2013. Produced by The Comedy Unit, who made Still Game, their spokesperson said the show could fill the gap left by Gary Tank Commander, Limmy's Show and Burniston. Producer Gus Beattie said the recording, which featured River City's Tom Ury alongside Sanjeev and Donald, proved a big hit with the audience. He added, "The show has genuine laugh-out-loud characters and a terrific world of locally owned shops and traders to draw upon. We believe it has the potential to become an absolutely cracking TV sitcom." A few days after the recording, the Daily Record ran an article saying Sanjeev Kohli's radio show Fags, Mags and Bags could become the next Scottish comedy TV hit after a successful tryout before a live audience this week. Shopkeeper Navid could be back behind the counter if BBC bosses give the go-ahead for a new telly-comedy. Fags, Mags and Bags sets look to become the next Scottish TV hit. Excellent, all looking good. Proven as an award-winning success on radio, the TV studio audience apparently loved it. What could go wrong? I mean, it couldn't be surpassed by another corner shop sitcom, could it? Yes, it could. On the 30th of January 2014, the BBC commissioned the Open All Hours sequel, Still Open All Hours, for 6 episodes, beginning on the 26th of December 2014. In January 2014, Sanjeev Kohli said in an interview he doesn't think the pilot will go any further following the commission of Still Open All Hours. Nothing else was heard of the TV pilot for Fags, Mags and Bags. Our next unbroadcast pilot is a cross between The IT Crowd and Red Dwarf, which is fine as it was co-written by IT Crowd creator Graham Linehan with Adam Buxton. It was produced and directed by the IT Crowd's Richard Bowden. The Cloud is about a data hub floating about Earth where the crew of Cloud Station 13 are responsible for vast amounts of information the human population now hoards on its endless devices. Mostly selfies, pictures of kittens, and a lot of porn. The disparate group who man the hub are anything but technical whizzes, which would matter less if the technology, including a largely voice-activated chip, was a little more reliable. As it turns out, Channel 4, who commissioned the pilot of The Cloud, were never actually going to broadcast it. Some pilots are made just for channel and commissioning executives to evaluate. This means it would not necessarily have been a complete episode. To save costs, and the opening titles and end credits might not have been made. They are often added after a full series has been recorded to utilise clips from various episodes. The project began sometime in 2013 and the pilot was finally recorded in spring 2015. But did people understand what The Cloud was in terms of their computer and social media usage? Well, by 2015, The Cloud was definitely entering common parlance. Services like iCloud launched in 2011 and Google Drive launched in 2012. There were also various streaming services that were pushing the idea of data not being on your device but somewhere else. People were increasingly storing photos, music, documents in the cloud. Tech journalists and even mainstream news outlets were regularly discussing the cloud as a concept, even if not everyone understood its technical intricacies. The cloud would likely have been a sharp, geek-centric and highly intelligent comedy that simultaneously celebrated and skewered our reliance on technology and the absurdity of modern data hoarding. Given Linehan's involvement, it would be packed with quotable lines and highly specific, bizarre character interactions. It's safe to assume the core elements of a group of socially awkward, often incompetent individuals forced to manage complex technology would lead to hilarious misunderstandings and frustrating interactions. As well as similarities to the IT crowd, the isolated setting in space, the dysfunctional crew and the general British irreverence towards sci-fi tropes are all hallmarks of Red Dwarf. The shared sense of being stuck in space with idiots is a strong link. The largely voice-activated ship that's also unreliable screams Red Dwarf's sentient but flawed tech, like onboard computer Holly and the mechanoid Crichton. Some episodes of Black Books were co-written by Graham Linehan, which also features a highly dysfunctional small business where incompetence and misanthropy reign. Bernard Black's disdain for customers and general lack of work ethic would no doubt be found in the Cloud Station 13's crew's approach to their vital data protection role. In November 2015, the Radio Times had an exclusive article to announce that Channel 4 has commissioned a full series of The Cloud. It stated the test episode has impressed C4 bosses so much that they have ordered a full run. The article went on to say that, according to C4 sources, there will be changes from the pilot. It's not unusual for a commissioned series to be different in some respects. The idea of the pilot was to see what worked, so something might have needed adjusting. However, the next part of the article suggests that the changes will be to the cast. We have commissioned the series, but we have no word yet on the casting, though we can assure you that it will still be set in space. Well, it's 10 years later and we haven't seen it. What happened? The most recent mention of The Cloud seems to be an interview in 2017 where Graham Linehan said, "Sometimes pilots are a good idea because you want to make changes, like we did a pilot for The Cloud, which is this science fiction idea I had with Adam Buxton, and it kind of worked, but there was really a lot of work that needed to be done. So it was great for us to be able to take it away and to really try and make it work properly before we show it to anyone." The suggestion being that it was still in development. However, it was not that simple. In 2008, Graham Linehan had made statements in online forums that were widely criticised as transphobic and sexist. Since then, Linehan has made further comments online and in interviews that were considered transphobic. This has led to some people to presume that the co-writer of The Cloud, Adam Buxton, might have decided against working with Linehan or continuing the project. If you're interested in superheroes, their related comic books and merchandise, you've probably ventured into a comic book store. In the future, you might want to tread more carefully, as there's a possibility you might accidentally get turned into a frog. At least that's the likely outcome if you visit the bookstore where Kiell, Smith-Bynoe and Jamali Maddix are working. In their bookshop, Sitcom Pilot Hex Shop, they are both witches, but Smith-Bynoe is a trainee and he keeps getting his spells wrong. It seems that the idea for the sitcom came from Smith-Bynoe and Maddix and was directed by Gideon Beresford and Benham Tahir, who specialise in fantasy-tinged humour. The pilot was shot in August 2020 in Soho in London. At least it seems that Maddix and Smith-Bynoe enjoyed the filming experience. In an interview published by British Comedy Guide, Smith-Bynoe said that spending 2 days in a comic book store with Jamali is an experience many people cannot say they've had. Sorry to them. Heck's Shop falls into a very recognisable and popular subgenre of sitcoms. The mundane job meets supernatural or fantasy element comedy, often with a fish out of water aspect. Truth Seekers, featuring Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, blends the supernatural with very British everyday jobs. The milieu of a rookie encountering supernatural phenomena and getting it wrong is familiar. In Spaced, with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg again, although not supernatural, the show frequently played with pop culture references, including comic books, and featured characters living eccentric lives. The quirky niche setting, often attracting a specific type of character, is a shared trait. Kiell Smith-Bynoe's own work on ghosts is a prime example. It's about a couple inheriting a country estate inhabited by ghosts only his wife can see. It's a fantastic blend of the everyday, renovating a house with financial struggles, with the supernatural, dead people from different eras. The comedy comes from the clash of these worlds and the distinct personalities. Heck's Shop could easily lean into this type of humour, where the magic is real but messy and the characters have very human problems. Heck's Shop sounds like it would have been a fantastic vehicle for Kiell Smith-Bynoe's deadpan delivery and physical comedy, coupled with Jamali Maddix's dry wit. The comic book store setting offers endless possibilities for visual gags, pop culture references and a quirky cast of supporting characters. It's a concept with a solid comedic foundation and plenty of room for both silly magic and relatable human struggles. It sounds like Heck's Shop really had the potential for some great visual gags and silly scenarios. And so our shift ends here in the graveyard of workplace sitcoms that never punched the clock for a full series. We've seen the quirky plots and the stars that brought them to life, even if only for a fleeting moment. From the madness of life in an orbiting data hub to the magical mishaps of a trainee witch in a comic book store, it's clear that television history is brimming with untold stories and forgotten gems. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what other incredible, unusual shows are out there waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this peep into TV history, please click like and subscribe for more TV sitcom stories and trivia. Then join me next time as we dig into another forgotten corner of television history.